Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Push with Nick and KP. We are back once again to bring you a weekly recap, this time of Monday Night Raw, which took place on June 22nd in London at the O2 Arena, where we are just 5 days away from Night of Champions. We kick off the show with one of the finalists in the King of the Ring, of course, referring to the ruler himself, Oba Femi. Oba appreciates, as do I, the local crowd and then begins to ponder which championship he should go after at SummerSlam. Then enters the King of the Ring, the other King of the Ring finalist, main eventer himself, Jey Uso. Jay says that this isn't the first time he's been overlooked, and this is a warning shot to Oba that those people that overlooked him before didn't fare too well. Oba says when you shoot your shot, you better not miss, but that Jay is not the family member that he is worried about. This is a great opening segment that did exactly what it needed to do, help hype us up for this matchup at Night of Champions. And I'm hoping that the obvious doesn't happen, but assuming that it doesn't, and even if it does, we still get a good matchup out of this. I feel like this was a really big promo moment here and a good segment here between the two guys. Our first match of the evening has our women's tag team champions Brie Bella and Paige defending their titles against Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. To be honest, this was a bit disappointing in terms of the match we got. Was expecting a bit more, or at least a longer match. It was weird to me too that Lyra mocked Paige. Towards the end of the match there. This was a bit out of left field, and to do that in London of all places. And then the post-match happenings, obviously, is going to be the main takeaway here. Lyra snapped, and perhaps this was a sign of it, mocking Paige during that match. Some nasty spots here, kind of post-match after Lyra snapped, whiplashing Bayley twice against the ropes, and then a Nightwing amongst some other blows to Bayley. This whole turn kind of seems out of left field, at least to me. Maybe there were signs I just didn't pick up on, but the only thing that kind of makes sense here is to do it in the UK, who obviously adores Bayley. So that aspect makes sense, at least here, to make sure that the heel turn is, booed, I guess. Lyra was on quite the roll, but did hit a snag a while ago, and this whole tag team with Bayley hasn't worked out well. I don't know. I don't think most of that is on them. I think the start-stop personality split with Bayley seemingly for whatever reason. I think that didn't help at all. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I don't know if Lyra as a heel makes a ton of sense. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see where they take this. Maybe at least get a good rivalry at it, and maybe it does work with Lyra. Hopefully, it does. I have big hopes for Lyra, and I'm hopeful this does work out, and she can kind of help get her back on track. But all that being said, Paige and Brie finally win a match here without underhanded tactics, thanks to Paige hitting a rampage, and still your women's tag team champions. Our next segment of the evening has Chad Gable making his way down to the ring, essentially continuing his apology tour, this time focusing on the Alpha Academy. Chad goes through all three members, Maxine, Akira, and Otis. It all seems to be going well until Maxine steps in. Maxine says that at one point she would have believed anything he said, but that is no longer the case. She now sees Chad for what he is, selfish, and everything he's ever done, including these apologies, are for him and him alone. The Alpha Academy then leave the ring, leaving Chad all alone in his fields in the center of it, much to the disappointment of myself and the UK crowd, the latter of which can be heard chanting Gable's name. So this is kind of the first snag we've seen Gable hit on this apology tour. So it'll be interesting to see if they continue to capitalize on that, or if this is just kind of one of those things that kind of doesn't really get resolved. We'll see. Obviously, Maxine has been seen flirting with the Vision, so maybe her intentions were kind of in the wrong place as well. Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see how they kind of tie in with this Chad Gable face turn, who seemingly has been doing everything else right. So interesting decision here. Next match of the evening has Ethan Page win one-on-one with Dragon Lee. This is a quick but hard-hitting match between Ethan and Dragon Lee that sees Ethan use some underhanded tactics, go figure, which we would expect both during the match and in the end to end up getting the win over Dragon Lee. Again, while short, these two have some nice chemistry, and I wouldn't mind seeing a bit more of this rivalry. Our next segment of the evening features a very ecstatic Io Sky being interviewed by Jackie Redmond before her Queen of the Ring finals matchup on Saturday. Of course, she is quickly joined by the Women's World Champion herself, the other finalist, Liv Morgan. A quick exchange here ends up with fists flying and Io standing tall here in a serviceable, but really nothing more of a promo here. And I would definitely say that the men did do it better, made it feel more important. But alas, nice to see these two women hyping up their Queen of the Ring matchup as well. Our next matchup of the evening has LA Knight going one-on-one with Jimmy Uso after some exchange words backstage earlier in the night, where Adam Pearce is once again being questioned about his GMing skills and where his loyalties truly lie, and maybe perhaps being paid off and all that good stuff. This ends up being a pretty good match. This is awesome chance from the crowd, and the head of MFT ends up coming into play and hitting Jimmy with a Samoan spike. LA Knight, extremely confused by the whole situation and what has happened, but capitalizes and hits a BFT to get the win here over Big Jim. With that, getting into the main event, which has the Street Profits going up against the Visions, Austin Theory and Braun Breaker, of course, being joined by Logan Paul for those World Tag Team Championships. This is a really good matchup here where the Street Profits are giving Braun and Theory everything they can handle and then some. Earlier in the match, Logan Paul gets ejected from the ringside, but returns with those brass knuckles with Joe Hendry ending up returning and chasing off Logan, but he does leave those brass knuckles on ringside. As Theory realizes this, he chases after them, then enters Seth Rollins, who appears to hit Theory with those brass knuckles and then leave off into the crowd, which of course he's being chased by Braun Breaker as well. This is the Street Profits, chance here. They capitalize and they do end up pinning Austin Theory and are now our new World Tag Team Champions. I'm never going to get mad at the Street Profits winning some gold, and this time for the fifth time becoming Tag Team Champions feels much more natural than the Vision, who always kind of felt like they were treating these Tag Team Championship titles kind of as a backstory, I want to say, but can't wait to see what the Street Profits can do this time with this run. But overall, Monday Night Raw, pretty decent episode. Always feels a bit bigger internationally, especially in London. Always feels like they pull out the big stops here. Bailey, getting turned on by Lyra, that was definitely a big moment. And Chad Gable's continuation of his apology tour. And then, of course, the main event, Street Profits getting the win and becoming new tag team champions. I thought it was a pretty decent episode. I'd probably give this one a 7.5 out of 10. Decent enough. Not as good as previous weeks, in my opinion, but still a quality episode. But enough from us. What did you all make from this episode? Please let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Highlights, lowlights, everything in between. And this has been the latest Raw recap. And we will be back shortly. We have a big week ahead of us, of course. We have our usual NXT and SmackDown recaps, but we also have Night of Champions predictions and reactions, as well as the Great American Bash NXT's PLE's predictions and reactions as well. And of course, we are continuing to work on that NXT PLE big project where we're going through every single PLE from start to current day. So lots of things coming forward here for the push. We'd love to hear from you, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you like what we're putting out here. We'd love to hear from you. But until next time, this has been The Push with Nick and KP. We'll see you soon. Take care.